My people, listen, listen. Today's topic, let me just start this way. I don't like the B word any more than any of you do. Matter of fact, very few of us were taught what to do with money growing up. And so we're here. I mean, not only do we have to learn about money, way into adulthood. I mean, people with careers and businesses and everything, but we still haven't mastered personal finance. But then, boom, we're hit with a crisis. So here I am realizing that my upbringing, my schooling, and everything I've done still didn't set me up for personal finance success. And then now the time to learn it is when things are tight. I know this is a topic that nobody wants to hear, but this is just what we need right now. So this is why every single Friday is Financial Friday. Like it or not, you will need to come to terms with this if you're not just going to survive. I mean, I don't even know if some of us are going to survive, but I want us to get past that and thrive. So if you are at a place and you feel like saying, look, off record, Modesta, I am not looking too good financially. Yes, I have a job. Yes, I have several other things I'm doing. I just haven't mastered it. Let us go through this process slowly and find out where the issues lie. So today I'm coming at you with 10 ways to make that money stretch in times of crisis. And I'm not just talking about COVID here. I'm just saying, if you can master your finances, if I can master my finances in times of crisis, we're going to be able to have a very healthy financial outlook for the rest of our lives. So for some, it's 20 years late. For others, 30, 40. Some people are like, look, I kid you not, 70 years later, now is when I'm learning about personal finance. You are not too late. Point is, we're in this together and we're learning, right? So welcome. I see Nam, I'm seeing Kim, Brittany, Yovni, I think. Hi, Esther. Hi, Lita Rose. Hey, Imelda. And hi, whoever's on YouTube. I see somebody on YouTube. I just can't see your name. Welcome me. Please feel free to let me know who you are and where you're tuning in from. So 10 ways to stretch your money in times of crisis. Am I learning this right now or am I learning this right now? Number 1, create a monthly budget. No, the B word. Yes, the B word, guys. And look, let's simplify it. Your budget is simply all the income that you're making in that month. So if that's going to be your job, if that's going to be your chicken business, did I ever tell you the time when I had a chicken business? Story for another day. If that is going to be from, a side hustle that you have, if it's going to be gifts that you have, that's also income. So wherever money is coming into you, put that in as income. And, I understand some people say, Modesta, but I don't have a regular income. Like my business sometimes will bring in this, my business sometimes bring in that. I would like you to start this exercise anyway. Now I know this is the 17th of April. By the way, happy birthday to my sister Eunice and my cousin Melissa. Just thought throw that in there. Even if we're starting halfway through the month, I'd like you to observe your income for the next 3 months. So you're going to do a budget for this month. Now your month isn't starting on the 1st, I understand. So maybe we're going to say you're learning this right now and you're going to be going to Purposeful Excellence on YouTube, subscribing, and this is where you'll find this video and turn on notifications for future videos. But what you're learning today, you can start practicing today, then go back to this video again at the end of the month, if that's when you get your pay and you're starting to make all your payments for the month after that, so that you can start with this budget in May, right? So the time of this broadcast, we're in April. So you can learn these things, start putting them together. You're probably going to have to share this with a significant other, right? And then look at, if you don't have a regular income, look at what May, June, July will be like for you so that you can get more or less of an average monthly income. But guess what? I bet your expenses are going to be the same. So we're learning more than just budgeting here, but bear with me. budget, the B word. Let's simplify it. Every single source of income, every income that comes in, whether it is a gift, whether it's from your job, multiple jobs, whether it's from a side hustle, whether it's from your business, wherever it's coming in, whether it's an inheritance, glory to God, thank you. Whether it is, dividends or whatever it is that you get income, please put that in. And then you will list out every single thing that you spend money on. So that could be the most important things, like, let's say, housing, whether it's rent or mortgage. If you own your own house, big up, like, high five to you. I tend to you. It's going to be your utilities, so your electricity, your gas, your water. There could be something else that you're paying for. It's going to be your food, that's important, your transport. Okay, where are you going right now? But let's just include it. Let's say we're not in times of COVID and people are moving around. Include that in your expenses. Include all your giving. Now, I come from a culture, apart from the fact that we tithe, and honestly, tithing is paying back to God. So that's not even a conversation. Like, the first money that comes out of me is tithing. So I tithe, and some people do 10%, some people do more. Please don't do less than 10%. But we come from a culture of contributing towards a lot of things. We're contributing towards weddings and graduations and mostly those things. It's seldom education and somebody has a building project. We mostly contributing towards something that we can go to a party for. It's almost like a ticket to a party. I digress. But do that budget. List down every source of income, how much you're bringing in the month. List down every single expense, including your giving and your rent and your utilities. That's your electricity, water, if it's gas as well, transport, include medical bills or expenses, include toiletries. And so, if that's your deo, that's your face things. Speaking to the ladies mostly, right? But I know, guys, you use deo. Please, guys, I pray. I beg you. Even if not cologne, deodorant, right? And you will get a nice figure that will tell you how you are doing. It'll tell you your current financial health. And so if you're in the red and you're seeing -0, you're not making enough for the kind of lifestyle that you lead. Like, what, why you're in my stuff? Guys, I'm in my own stuff right now. If you are, you see that your income minus your expenses equals 0, guess what? But you're living a very risky life, right? I mean, it's good that your budget balances out. But at the moment, this budget we're talking about, you haven't really thought through, you haven't really planned through. You just found out that when you put in your income and all your expenses, hey, it came to 0. If you find that you have more income left from expenses, well, you're doing good. So you have, considering if you haven't written in that some of your spending goes towards saving, because saving is also spending. You spend when you save. You're putting that money, spending that money to put it towards your future. You spend when you invest, whether it's stocks or it's wherever it is that you're putting your money. That is also spending. Even if you're saying, oh, but I'm locking it up, I'm putting it somewhere to grow for me. Yes, but for that month, that is a spending. So if you haven't considered those in your budget and you find that you have less expenses than you do income, this is a good place to start. But now, so that's number one. You've done your budget. You've looked at your financial health. And if you're going to be in the negative, stay with me. We're learning this thing. Some of us are turning 40 this year, but you know what? It's better late than never. Second thing to stretch your money in times of crisis is go back to your expenses. So let's say you find that you have more expenses than income. Go back to your expenses and then ask yourself, is every single item here absolutely necessary? If I were to remove certain things, could I still survive the next 30 days if they weren't on my expenses? And so it could be subscriptions. Maybe you have, subscriptions, some plan you're on your phone, or it could be a subscription for cable, DSTV. It could be a subscription to magazines or something. A lot more people are just ordering things that come in the mail, seldom look at them. Go and look at every single item on your expenses and ask yourself, is this necessary? Like, really, would I fall and lose my health and lose my home if I don't have this expense? So look at everything that is unnecessary and put an asterisk next to it, because you're going to look at how you can remove that or reduce that from your budget. Number 3, then go and look at your income. Go look to see whether, because you've already checked out your expenses, right? You've already noted down the things that you can remove or reduce from your expenses. So now you can also look at your income. If, let's say, after removing, still in the negatives and you're thinking, I cannot reduce anymore. Right now, I'm left with housing, utilities, food, and probably transport. That's all, more or less that's left. The rest are really essentials. So then look at your income and ask yourself, okay, can I negotiate a pay increase? True story. Go and have those conversations of how you can negotiate a pay increase. Now, I have said in previous videos, if you guys were following my week talking about, how to plan and really excel in your career, including, how to get your CV and your cover letters to really reflect all that you are so that you can ace interviews and be able to negotiate to win. I recommended that you negotiate and you ask for that pay increase around about performance evaluation time. But listen, desperate times call for desperate measures. If it is not performance evaluation time and you do need a pay increase, I would still prepare to go have that conversation at work. If you have multiple jobs, do that in multiple jobs. And I'm assuming here that you are a performer, that you do deliver well. And so this would be something you'd be comfortable doing. You're not just a coaster at work. You don't just show up and just wing it, do whatever it is. You're a person that really delivers this honest conversation. Also look at starting a side hustle. I've been talking a lot about monetizing your skills. I have entire templates, and so there are videos on monetizing your skills. Find out what it is that you can do other than just your day job to bring in income, because clearly your expenses are far greater than your income. And also look around you. Is there anything you can lease? Is there space? Whether it is renting a room, whether it's renting space outside, whether it is you actually have items in your house that you can rent, you can sell, to increase your income. So you'll have to look around, right? We want to make this money stretch in times of crisis. But what you're going to do right now, what you're going to implement for your finances right now, you can apply even after COVID and the crisis that everybody's going through. Number 4, make purchases last. Husband's good at this. Consider, for instance, your meal portions. Hey, Bilan. Hi, Stella. Consider your meal portions. Do you really have to have that much meat? And I'm sure the Africans are like, what do you mean? How do you touch my meat? Listen, this is where most of the money goes. Meat is expensive anywhere in the world. So some ways of making purchases last or reducing your consumption is reducing meal portions. I mean, truly, do we really need to lump up our plates? I'm just getting images of going to weddings and just seeing how people fill up from, entrees to desserts on the one plate, like this mountain of a portion. That's one way of reducing, making your money stretch, because you're going to have, especially if you can buy in bulk and buy for the week, you will make that stretch as much as possible. Consider switching off lights, water, and gas when you don't need it. Here's Modesta saying this right after doing a video on hand washing. I did a hand wash challenge and I had the water running for so long, and you guys are like, Modesta, what kind of people are you speaking to? We can't afford to do that out here. My bad, guys. That was really just. Thank you, Stella. That was just for example. I am mindful of consumption. I'm mindful of the environment, and I'm also mindful of those bills. So switching off lights that you don't need, really being strategic about how you're using your cooker, because a lot of, electricity and gas goes when we're cooking. Consider as well You know, maybe when you do, some people make meals on Sunday for the rest of the week, like several different meals. So maybe you're just reheating rather than cooking over and over throughout the week. You can do that. What else do I have here? Washing your clothes. I don't know if it's practiced everywhere. Wash the family's clothes once, once a week. That way, you're not getting water that's removing suds from clothes, all throughout the week. That's the fourth way that you can make your money stretch in times of crisis. Number five, so glad we're not, in the same space, because some people are like, what do you mean? My Mac is my Mac, and that is that. Yes, I understand your Mac is your Mac. I do get that your Apple devices are your Apple devices. I understand that there's certain places to get your coffee. Maybe you go to Java. Hey, John. I don't know. And you're thinking, Modesta, do not touch where I go. I go stretch in times of crisis. You're going to be a little bit mindful. And listen, let's say this is an experimentation for just right now because of everything everybody's going through, and we're not sure, about incomes and stability for a while, and you just want to do the prudent thing right now. You may find when you look for brands that give you as much value, just as great a quality, but cost less, that you didn't just switch to these brands just now because of the times of crisis. You might find moving forward that you're just happy to switch. Like, I'll tell you this. I've been doing Mac for forever, and Clinique for a very long time. Some people are like, what's Mac, what's Clinique? Anyway, put that aside. And I switched from Clinique to Neutrogena, and I find that it's working well for me. I switched from Mac for my foundation and my concealer. The gentlemen are like, Modesta, move on. No, I just want to stay here for a little bit, okay? Because sometimes, ladies, we get stuck here. And I moved to Clinique, a 2-in-1. It's a foundation and a concealer, and it's cheaper than even just the one Mac. Although I still love my Mac, and I still do Mac, everything else, well, almost everything else. And it worked for me. So I was like, wait, I stuck to Clinique, especially after I had this adult acne, and I thought that was it. And I stuck to Mac because Mac works. It works. You don't have to experiment with it. But there are actually cheaper alternatives that could work for you. So I'm talking about makeup here. This could be coffee. This could be the sugar that you buy. I know sugar is a little bit of a sensitive conversation right now in one particular country, the country I come from. But whatever it is that the family spends on, consider switching to a, maybe the word isn't cheaper, but less expensive alternative. Even if you're saying, okay, it's just for now, you would be surprised when you see the savings, when you see how much you're able to save as a family, yet still get the same experience, the same taste, or the same, whatever it is you're looking for from the brand that you're really loyal to. You might want to continue with it moving forward. All right, move on. Hey, Bernard, welcome. Maria, welcome. Who do I have here? Christina, Gertrude. Sorry, I've got it sideways. Miranadra, hello. Sorry. Brand loyalty number 6. Buy reduced prices. Buy during sales. So I remember their sales in November, I believe. And their sales were massive. Like, there were really significant cuts to the original price. And so they would save up all year to buy really high-end furniture at like middle price range. And so they would save up, and maybe, people are not changing furniture every year. I mean, nobody, I mean, maybe the really high-end people want to, but people don't change furniture every year. So they would save, whether it's for a year or two, and then wait for this annual sale and buy their furniture then. People do so for cars as well. And so whether you're waiting for a specific time, when there's a sale, or you're saving up for when an opportune time arises, that I'll tell you this, apart from store sales, there are times, let's say people are traveling. So people who are maybe in the international community that tend to be moved post to post, after a while, sometimes have almost as good as new things that you can buy. They'll be like, but that's a secondhand thing, cheapskate. People, look, if this wasn't a subject that's important to you, you wouldn't still be here. Everybody can make their money stretch in times of crisis. So you can get as good as new. You can even buy things online that are as good as new. Come on, guys. We've been importing Japanese vehicles, secondhand Japanese vehicles, reconditioned things for a while. Think of that also for your monthly expenditures at home, and consider getting quality things during sales when prices are reduced, or getting quality things that are almost as good as new, from people when they're advertising some things that they have. I'm just putting it out there. If you want your buck to stretch, then these are some of the ways that you can do it. Number 7, share things. Look at that. I almost put carpooling here. I understand we can't carpool right now. We can't be, close to each other. But we're going to be in a home where I have a laptop, my husband has a laptop, each of my kids has a laptop, and there's certain things that you can share. We don't need 4 laptops in a home. If you can afford it, of course, go ahead, guys. I'm not here trying to get a generation of cheapskates. I'm trying to be the wealthiest woman in the world here, not on being a cheapskate, but I'm saying we're in times of crisis, and if you're thinking desktop. So maybe all the kids are sharing a desktop, and maybe you and your spouse, because of work and just, you need to deliver timely, you can't afford to do that. Then whatever else, you can look around your house and you can consider your lifestyle and look at ways that you can save. The other day, what was that video that I put out to you guys? I was talking about how to stay sane, that, a whole family being cooped up together. And one of the things that we've decided to do is, like, now I'm live, and so my kids have to be quiet because of that. You can have a schedule around when somebody gets to use a thing so that, you're not using multiple things at the same time. So you're saving up on actually the buying of multiple things. You're saving up on the electricity or maybe battery, whatever consumption of those multiple things running. Sometimes people have to get greater Wi-Fi, a bigger bundle, more money, because you have several things running at the same time. And so if you're scheduling time around, like the example, a desktop, well, then, it's same bandwidth. It's just different people coming on a different time rather than devices sucking out, all that juice at the same time. Putting it out there. Number 8, the 8th way in which you can make your money stretch this. I think I noticed this when I traveled. Not when I was at school. There's a time I traveled and I lived in another country for a little bit. And I noticed how much in the West, they do a lot of things themselves that where I come from in Africa, we get people to do it. So we have fundis, right? We have people that come in to do the electricals, to do the carpentry, to do the painting, there are a lot of things that we have a lot of people, that we pay a lot of people to do for us. And in the Western culture, I don't know so much about the Asian culture. A lot of people learn these things. Like literally, they'll go through manuals. Right now we have YouTube, right? People will learn how to do certain things so that they can do it themselves. And so whether it is going to be painting your house, it's going to be nails, hair. The ladies are like, why you want us, Modesta? Is it just because you got a toupee and you want the rest of us to look like you? Guys, first of all, don't diss my hair. Secondly, no, I'm just saying there are a lot of things that we spend money on every single month that we need to go to the barbers. We need to do. Okay, fine. I know that if you don't go to the barber sometime, maybe your hair will come out, slanted. But certainly I could do my nails. I could do my makeup on my own. I did my own makeup during my wedding. Oh yeah. Okay, fine. Anyway, that's another story for another day. It could be hair. It could be meals, right? Like usually going out to restaurants like us, we do pizzas on Friday, but I bake pizza. I bake scones. I would bake bread rolls. I can do bread, cakes. Okay, fine. Most of the time we do it from a pack. It's cheaper to do it from a pack, rather than putting sugar and butter and eggs and flour and all of that together. It works out cheaper. But whatever could work for you, you might be surprised that DIY would be another way of you saving. And maybe initially you're like, this feels kind of awkward. But, after 2-3 tries, you're a pro. Hey, you could find that when you're doing a DIY, just because you want to save, that you learn a skill that you could later monetize. I mean, there are all kinds of possibilities out there. So stay open. Number 9, reduce the frequency of accessing certain services. So maybe there's something you subscribe to every month that you can do every quarter, or maybe something that you're doing, every week that, your money slashed, that you could have that done every month instead. So consider that as well for all those things that we subscribe to. I have my monthly appointment for this thing or the other, or every single month, I access this service. Hey, you could choose instead to stagger that, to prolong, that service, so that you're not going for it. I remember a budget. One of my executive clients, we were working on her budget, and she does spa and hair and gym and all kinds of things, and several classes. I mean, if she's on here, she's like, "You're putting my stuff out there." I'm not mentioning your name. And she had a lot of things that were the spa, and she found a way of making her money stretch. And that wasn't even in times of crisis. She just wanted to really see where her income was going. David is saying, my wife is from Scandinavia. Sorry, let me move my notes. And she does more carpentry at home than me. You see, it is amazing. And so I learned this as well when I went to Europe. I'm like, wait a second, nobody hires anybody to do anything. I mean, people build their own houses. Literally, the husband, wife, and kids build their own houses. I'm talking about 3D housing. I mean, like really, like foundation and everything. They do a lot of that on their own. Some people go to school for it. Like I remember, I digress. I'll come back to my last point. I had to learn carpentry. I had to learn, not carpentry, woodwork, metalwork, cooking, knitting, sewing. It was part of the equivalent would be Form 1, Form 2, 7th and 8th grade education. There's a time my mom got a scholarship and we followed her. And so there are a lot of people out there, and we're thinking, oh, wow, their economies are better than developing countries and everything. But the people also live more frugal, or really pride themselves in learning these life and vocational skills, and to actually get somebody in to do some work for you comes at a great price. So just consider that, guys. I'm just putting out there, and I'm telling you, the things that you're going to institute right now, you're going to implement right now, because you want to make your money stretch in times of crisis, you will find later that is something you actually want to continue with. You could even take it up as a side hustle. You could even start an entire business, quit your job on something that you learned during times of crisis. I'm telling you, opportunities are everywhere. It's just how you're looking at a thing. Somebody here is saying, I miss seeing you on Tanzanian TV. Such a gem. Oh, I love you. I'm here. It's so interesting you say that. I'll tell you what I mean by that. But very interesting you say that. But I do want to, you can make that money stretch in times of crisis, is negotiate terms. See, sometimes we talk ourselves out of things. And then I've met some people, and I know I've even mentioned some of these friends. There are people who will go and negotiate interest rates with their bank. So they'll say, look, for that loan, I'd like to negotiate interest rates. Some people will negotiate to have grace periods. I cannot continue paying right now. Can you freeze it? Give me 3, give me 6 months. There's some people, so you can negotiate with banks, you can negotiate with your telecom provider, you can negotiate with your landlord. A lot of people are doing that right now, and a lot of landlords are being flexible, and open to that. So that's another way that you can make your money stretch. Don't count yourself out. Don't think they'll think I'm crazy. Who would do that? Nobody does that. You just have your bill and you just pay your bill. No, you can negotiate. Go. But of course, like I always say, don't think on the spot. Don't just talking in front of somebody. You could get nervous. They could come at you strong and you lose your cool. We know emotions get in the way and we get feelings come up and we call it quits. Like I said yesterday, don't make any lasting decision based on your feelings, which means you need to prepare beforehand. So look at whatever the contract is, whatever the terms you've been working on, and consider then your budget, the B word. I know. Consider your budget, consider your income, and then explain to them, this is happening at the moment. This is what I was doing at this percentage. But if you could reduce to this percentage and make my month this, or I'd like to consolidate my loans so that I can have a better terms. Have that conversation and make sure to speak figures. Don't just say, can you please stop my loan? Can you please reduce? Have figures in mind so that you have thought through your income, your expenses, your current shaking at the moment, and what it is that you would be open to do later. And of course, think about the other side as well. Remember, you're coming in with your agenda. They have their own agenda. They just want their money. think of the other side as well, and pitch something that it may not be the figure that they would also like, but at least the terms. Negotiate wisely, negotiate prudently, and how would I say, astutely and shrewdly, even right? Terms that speaking language that they understand, and they would be open to listening to. So those were my 10 ways of making your money stretch in these times of crisis. So just in case you weren't there, number one was create a monthly budget. All your income, your money goes out. If you have some expenses that come up quarterly or annually, then there's an annual payment you make, divide that into 12 and include that in your monthly budget so that you can see how much you're actually saving each month to go towards that. Number two was go back to your expenses and then look at each line item and say, if I didn't have this for the next 30 days, would I die? Like, if I didn't have this, would my life completely fall apart? If it doesn't, put an asterisk to it and think of how you can completely remove it or reduce it right now. Number three was go back to your income and then see how to increase it. If your income is less than the expenses that you have, and you already went to your expenses and you realize, wait, this is as far down as I can go, then go negotiate your pay. Look at, doing a side hustle, renting space, items. Number four was reduce your consumption, right? Make the purchases that you do have last longer. So this is a conversation to have with families. We do not open the fridge as a hobby. No, no, no. A fridge is a place we go to when we're bored, and we start taking items out to eat just as a little knee-jerk reaction, like an automatic twitch. We do not twitch on the fridge. Okay, so you're going to have this conversation with family members of how you can make things last. Number five was reconsider brand loyalty. Maybe there are less expensive brands that will give you just as quality and experience as a brand that you've so held near and dear all this time. Well, it's not practical right now, so you got to let go. Number six is buy reduced prices, wait for sales, possibly even look at getting something as good as new if it's not, entirely new. No shame. No shame. Gotta do what you gotta do. And you might find after all this, wait a second, why were we even buying new? Like, there is absolutely nothing to say this was ever used. Like, maybe I'll continue with that. Or why was I ever buying full price? I can wait for sales. Delay instant gratification. Number seven, share your things. Maybe you guys have too many devices running at home or whatever else. Share a car. Maybe you have several cars and there really is no reason. Somebody can drop somebody off and you stop somewhere. I know people are not moving right now, but I'm just saying there's something else that can be done. Number eight, do it yourself. There are many things from meals to house, works, all kinds of things that you can actually do yourself rather than hire people, and that will reduce your monthly expenses. Number nine, frequency of certain services. Maybe you do not need to do a spa every single month. No, your skin will not flake off and you will not lose your mind. If you can afford it, by the way, this is always going to be my little disclaimer, right? The caveat is, if you can afford it, go ahead. But if you can, and to afford it, thank you. To afford it doesn't mean I have the money for it. Just because you have the money doesn't mean you can afford the thing, which is why it's important to do a budget. It's why it's important to even do financial goals. Just because you have the cash doesn't mean that you have the cash for that thing. Doesn't mean you should spend it on that. So you really need to think through your life and your financial goals and do a budget to see whether just because the cash is there that I should actually spend it on this thing. You'll probably find that no, you're not as liquid as you thought. Your cash flow. And, you would have to, reconsider that spending. So, and then number 10, negotiate terms. You'd be surprised. Don't cut yourself out. Don't think they'll think I'm crazy. They'll boo me out. But who cares what people think? You need to stretch your money right now. We're in times of crisis. Go do your best to negotiate, but make sure you planned ahead. You know exactly, what you're asking for, at what percentage or what reduction for how long, and what you're saying to them. There you go, my people. So I hope this has worked for you. You can start the work. And like I said, I know we're starting this on the 17th of April, right? At the time of this broadcast. And you want to start your budget when you get your money at the end of the month. Some of you maybe have business, and so you can start whenever at the month. But you probably do expenses at specific times of the month. So if you want to wait and start this in May, certainly. You can come back to this video, which is why, guys, I'm saying subscribe to Purpose and Excellence on YouTube. Thank you so much for the hearts. I am grateful. Subscribe to Purpose and Excellence on YouTube and turn on notifications when this comes on. You can come back to this video then, but between now and the 1st of May, I want you to sit down with your family and think through all the income. Spouses, you need to talk to each other. You guys need to have full disclosure on your income, so that you can really plan ahead. I mean, I know some people keep things and women are tucking things on the side the man doesn't know. The man has money on the side the woman doesn't know. Look, it's a marriage, right? So have those conversations, put your money together, look at how much you're bringing in, look at how much you're spending. But, you know, the man would say, okay, I'm going to go speak to my wife about this. And we'll plan, and then I'll get back to you. Even if I'm just doing executive coaching with the man, or let's say a woman is doing the master plan class, and she'll say, okay, so I'm going to have a conversation with my husband, and then I'll get back to you about how we're moving forward with the budget. Because it's also really important, guys, to go through your budget when you're planning your life, your career and business success and life of impact. You really also have to think about, you know, your budget and how you're actually going to make that a reality with your current responsibilities. I currently have a couple that are doing a program together. They're doing the master plan class together because they want to be aligned. And one of the key areas for them is also finances. So have those conversations before, you know, 1st of May. If you want to wait until the next month for you to start the budget, have this conversation now. Plan now so that when the bills come, you have streamlined all of them. So this is what, you know, when I was talking about negotiating, you can also negotiate your bills. You can decide that, you know, I'm going to negotiate with the service providers and pay all our bills at the same time. So that way, when the money comes in and you put it together as a pot, you're doing your tithing and you're giving. By the way, budget your giving. That's a whole other video for another Friday. On another Financial Friday, we're going to talk just about giving, because especially in African culture, this is just a thing that we do. We do it out of guilt. We do it out of compulsion. We do it because we are told we will be blessed to do it. And we just... I digress. Let me come back. So you're going to think through even your giving. You have a giving budget. When that budget for giving for that month ends, your giving ends. You're not taking from the school fees saying, oh, God knows how it's going to come back. And then your kids are taken out of school. You're not going to take it from your electricity bill and use candlelights. No. You're going to budget, and you're going to get on the front end of the decisions you're making. So I've asked you, who are you, where are you going, and why? You know, what are your financial goals? What is your financial health at the moment, and what are you going to do about it? And these videos that will come to you every single Friday are to help you not just look the picture of success in your career and your business and your mover and shaker, hey, and things are really crazy at home, which COVID will let everybody see about all of us. Guys, I'm not even removing myself from that equation. So if this is the first time we're having a conversation about finances in your entire life, you're in good company, because many of us are waking up to a lot of these things right now. We lived the life, we made the money, we did this, we did that, but didn't even have foresight. It wasn't planned, it was just random. And I want us to really make the most of these sessions to get our houses in order. We see this when crisis hit, when ill health comes in, when a death comes in, we see a real picture of how a family was doing. And that is not the way. That is undignified. That is unnecessary. Let's plan our futures, and let's follow through with steps that not just us, but we can share this with the people that futures, and let's follow through with steps that not just us, but we can share this with the people that we're doing life with, and it could be your spouse, so that together we're not just looking good, but we're doing good, and we can build generational wealth as well. I love you, my people. I am done. If you haven't already done so, go and subscribe to Purpose and Excellence on YouTube and hit that notification, because I will be coming out with these things as often as I can. We need to get out. We really need to get out of the rut we've been in. Do you not think? All right, Kelvin, welcome. Henry, thank you for following. John, thank you. Adilai, thank you so much. Safe, David, Johanna, Elinaja, Bernard, Maria, John, Stella. Guys, thank you so much for coming in. Asante, Vumi, Lynn, I am grateful. Susie, welcome. Thank you so very much, guys, for tuning in today. Let's do this work and then come back to this video later. Somebody just said, Dan, asante, asante. Thank you, asante. Come back to this video. So you're doing all the work between now, the 17th, and the 30th, and then you're hitting before you start spending. When your money comes in this month, I'd like you to have already thought through finances, giving, lending. I mean, okay. All right, guys. Personal Lessons on YouTube, subscribe and turn notifications. You can DM me, you can email me, hello@modesta.africa, or go to modesta.africa to see some of the services that I have. Should you want to have a conversation, you can just have the one conversation. You don't have to take an entire program from me. If you'd like to have conversations around your finances or your life plan or your career, your business, welcome. I am here and I am committed to us not only being out there and being seen to be doing well, but to truly be intentional about the lives we're creating, to be intentional about what success is to us, not just the picture of success, but truly living a life of success and being able to pass that on generationally and to be able to affect our spheres of influence. This is what I'm here for. And please make use of my presence. Please. Take care. I love you guys. EBM Scholars, thank you. Said I already subscribed a long time ago. Great job, sister. Thank you, my brother. I'm grateful to all of you. Have a wonderful weekend. Hey, did you see my post? I said that apparently there's a Gallup report that says that people spend the most on Saturdays. So tomorrow is Saturday. I'm just saying, just putting it out there. Be prudent. Take care. Much love. Bye. Switching off. Finishing, saying goodbye, finishing, saying goodbye, goodbye.